diary. Well, what a run we went on over the Christmas New Year period. Teddy must have asked for lots of points, because we got plenty. After a narrow 3-2 defeat against then top of the league Lisburn Distillery, Distillery. We told the boys to be a bit more disciplined and managed to win our next 5 league games against Tobermoor United, Dollingstown, Bangor, Queen's University Belfast in an insane game, and Limavady United. With the 15 points we picked up in those games, we now find ourselves on top of the league. Some of the boys have been getting nosebleeds being that high, so at least Connor Downey is having to earn his wage. We're about to take on top tier opposition for the first time when hosting Larne in a first round cup tie, so our winning run will probably come to an end. Still, a good chance to see how we stack up, and who knows, maybe we can pull off an upset that gets some interest in me as a manager. Nothing like the magic of a cup run, they say. Until next time. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 6 of FMOE here on Shaun Does FM with Banbridge Town. I hope you are doing well, and coming up today we enter the first round of the Peaky Blinders Irish Cup and we take on top tier opposition for the first time in this save as we play Larne. So if you are looking forward to today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, then also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But as mentioned in the intro, off the back of picking up a win in the 4th qualifying round for this tournament in yesterday's episode, which if you missed, I'll leave a link to over in the top right corner. Our form in the league has been very, very good, picking up 5 wins from 5. And as you would have seen, that does mean that league table wise, we have jumped ourselves up from being mid-table to on top, albeit towards the top end of the league table. As you can see, things are very, very condensed, but hopefully that does give us a good platform to launch from with 8 games left in the season before we do split into the championship group for the top 6 teams and the relegation group for the bottom 6 teams. Hopefully we end up in that championship group and do not have to worry about being relegated. That would tick all the boxes that they do expect of us here as a manager at Banbridge Town, and who knows, maybe we could even pick up an unexpected promotion, of course, with all that good quality that we have brought in on loan. With the whole transfer and lack of a wage budget situation that we do have here at Banbridge Town in Northern Ireland, so a really good run that we have been on since you were last here, as also mentioned in the intro, that largely came down to the fact that we have told the boys to be more disciplined. You wouldn't think that would be something that would affect us defensively, but it has improved things on that side as well. So be more disciplined, actually helping us out in this league run that we have had recently here at Banbridge Town. We go back over to the homepage. We are best in goals scored, which I think was already the case, but now 3rd best in goals conceded. That has risen up quite considerably since you were last here. I think we were down around mid or even the bottom half of that goals conceded stat over those past few episodes. Now we are one of the better teams defensively, so obviously with the goals scored and goals conceded being at the top end of our league, that is the reason we are now up on top of the league table. But today the focus does switch to the Peaky Blinder Irish Cup, much like it did in yesterday's episode, and for the first time we take on top tier opposition in Larne, getting the pronunciation right today after I butchered it in yesterday's episode. They're actually a 2-star reputation club and also professional, so definitely a completely different kettle of fish to what we have been playing so far in this save, and they currently find themselves second in the top tier of Northern Ireland. Be away behind Glentoran, but still in a spot where they could end up in European qualifying for next season through a competition like the Conference Leagues. This is going to be a good test for us here to see how far away we might be from being able to compete in the Premiership if we did start to get on a roll of promotions, if we were able to keep the job here at Banbridge Town, and if no one else with a more interesting job offer did come in and try and pinch us out here from Northern Ireland. But obviously this is going to be a game we are heavily expected to lose, so hopefully we can give a little bit of cheek and maybe, just maybe, it's unlikely, but pull off an upset against one of the better teams here in Northern Ireland. Also, we have done a little bit of a rejig to our best 11 that we do start in most of the games that we do play. Connor Downey with that wage of his. He's actually regressed in terms of his star rating, so because of that, Conway is now starting at left wing, his more natural position off the back of doing a great job for us as a striker in the early stages of the save. And despite his efforts a few episodes ago where he didn't perform well off of the bench, Max Fisher has actually improved quite a bit recently. We gave him one more chance, he took it, and is now our starting striker alongside our star man in Stephen McKevitt. So in terms of the front half of the field, things actually looking quite well. We could potentially still improve a little bit there at centre-back with a 2-star rated defender. Maybe that's something we can do, seeing as we are in the middle of a transfer window. Hopefully also we might be able to annoy Gloucester City enough so that they get rid of Jack Hill, because he of course is the player costing us £150 a week. Hopefully we can find a way to maybe get Gloucester City to terminate his loan, and that could be quite useful of course, because at the moment, just thinking about things in the future like youth intakes, I don't know if we'd actually be able to sign any players with that wage budget being so far over the limit. So definitely a player, if we can, that we would like to get rid of, and hopefully we can find a way to do that here in the January transfer window. And also, as I said, maybe get someone a little bit better there to partner Dylan Snodden at centre-back. But there is our slightly new look team here at Banbridge Town with that change at left wing and up front, and hopefully we can pull off an upset here in the first round of the Irish Cup, the Peaky Blinders Irish Cup, albeit, as I said, highly unlikely against the team the quality of Larne. But we'll see what happens soon at Crystal Park. We'll come back shortly with the team sheets for the first round tie in the Peaky Blinders Irish Cup. And here are the team sheets for this first round tie in the Irish Cup. There's our new look team, as you can see, and also our recent form a lot better than it was coming into the past few episodes. There are Larne. They are playing a 4-3-3, definitely my preferred formation in Football Manager. We don't quite have the players to do that here at Banbridge Town, but hopefully at home here we can pull off a little bit of an upset. And 5 minutes into this one, we've our first highlight. We are on the attack here with a throw in. McKevitt there will get a header off, but unfortunately straight into the arms of Ferguson. Quite a quick rollout there to Kelly at the back. So interesting to see that Larne already might be distributing it quickly compared to what we do here at Banbridge Town, and they look to play out from the back here, which is also something we don't really do unless we are already in the lead and trying to slow the game down. Now, ball over the top there for Bonus. Really, you'd expect a top division striker to be putting that one away, with a decent save there from Hunter in goal. He has been a little bit shaky over the past few episodes, or at least some of our goalkeepers have in some cup games. Thankfully, comes up big for us there, and Conway will head that one away. Still 0-0 at the 10-minute mark. And in fact, right off the back of that previous highlight, yet again it is Larne here who are in possession. They start to get something going here down their left-hand side. Scott just tries to get something going there. Interesting tackle from McLaughlin. We head that one away, but Sula from the edge of the box, it takes a big deflection, that shot, and unfortunately Hunter cannot do much about that. It's a pretty unfortunate goal, but Larne, they get a shot off and get rewarded for it. They take a 1-0 lead here at Crystal Park, just past the 10-minute mark. In the end, not the worst tackle there from McLaughlin. We deal with the initial danger, but Schuler puts the ball into the mixer, takes a big deflection off one of our players, and Hunter was already trying to make the save, was left high and dry, and Larne go 1-0 up early. And about halfway through this first half, we have a throw in here, albeit this time inside our own half. We try and play a ball over the top for Max Fisher, I think that would have been, but unfortunately goes straight into the path of the goal scorer in Schuler. I presume that's how you say his name, much like the German footballer. But some interesting work there down that right-hand side for Larne. Probably fortunate that that tackle did not connect. O'Neill there gets a good shot off, but Hunter yet again with a good save. So far, this is looking like one of his better performances since we've taken over here at Banbridge Town. Cosgrove will put this corner in, but thankfully Sojay will tidy that one up. They still have the ball on the edge of the box. This time Schuler does not opt for the shot. They take that out by the corner flag. There is going to be another corner though, as that does go off of the OG in Gallagher, and they're going to try and put this one into the mixer and try and double their lead here with around about 20 minutes to go in the first half. Kelly gets a header off, but thankfully goes over the bar, and we are still 1-0 down. And it is half time here in this first round tie in the Peaky Blinders Northern Irish Cup. Larne, as you would expect, being pretty dominant here against us, albeit we are only down by 1-0, and that was off the back of a pretty big deflection as well. We've got a few players out there on a yellow card, I think we'll tell everyone that we just need to have a bit more possession in the second half because we're not actually playing that badly. Just one goal might get us back into this one. We kick off the second half, still 1-0 behind. And we've just entered the last half hour of this game. The OG has picked up a knock here and also a few other players on yellow cards and not very good ratings. So we're going to make quite a few substitutions at this point to try and turn this game around. Doyle will come on for the OG, McCavitt for Cowan in the midfield. Max Fisher, unfortunately, not performing too well today. Connor Downey will come on for him and Conway can go up front. And also, Sodjay at left back, only going okay on a 6.4. Joshua Quinn to come on for him. So quite a few changes there with 26 minutes left. But still, we're only 1 goal down. And a few minutes off the back of that bunch of substitutions, it is a free kick here for Larne. Someone gets their head on the end of it, thankfully. Just loops over that top right corner. And we are still kind of in this, only 1-0 down. And only a few minutes off the back of that previous highlight, down the other end here for a corner, and Snonan unfortunately just puts that one wide. That was probably a chance there from a set piece. As you can see, stats-wise, things have certainly evened up here in the second half. Another free kick there, but unfortunately this time, Larne do clear that before we can do anything. But the second half certainly a bit better than that first was, and we are still only down by 1 goal. So hopefully we can do something here in the latter stages of the second half and maybe take this one to extra time or a replay. That's a great chance there for McCavitt. Usually oh so reliable. Unfortunately, that was pretty much straight into the path of their goalkeeper. That was probably the chance that we did need to put away if we wanted to get something out of this game. But as you can see, stats-wise now, considering where it was at half-time, quite an even game. But with a few minutes left, we have a free kick here, which Hunter does play out, unfortunately, into a scrum of bodies. And Larne do win that ball back. Now Hughes with the ball over the top. Now Hunter is going to come out and do something about that. Why? Why did he do that? He's on a goalkeeper on defend. He's not sweeper keeper. Anyway, that's our cup run done because Hunter there has had an absolute shocker. It's an awful first touch. He's almost assisted that for their striker and Taylor. And that will be our cup run. Up until that point, it did feel like we might be working our way into this game a little bit. So we could potentially get a goal back and try and take this one into a replay or extra time. Not exactly sure what it would be in this competition, but Hunter there just makes sure that we are going to get knocked out. So that's a pretty frustrating way for this game to end. As I said, during that second half, we certainly improved. We actually had the better of that second half, but unfortunately, we conceded that goal at the 12-minute mark. In fact, both of their goals, when you think about it, pretty unlucky in terms of tactical stuff because it's not much I can control. That big deflection on the shoulder goal and then Hunter just having an absolute brain explosion for that second one. So definitely a game that we could have got something out of, but in the end we didn't put the ball in the back of the net. Larne somehow did it twice, even though it was kind of at our own fault at times. And unfortunately, we get knocked out in the first round of the Irish Cup, but not too unexpected, but certainly a game I feel like we could have actually got something out of there as we suffer a 2-0 defeat at Crystal Park. So unfortunately not going on too deep of a run there in the Peaky Blinders Northern Irish Cup. A bit of an unlucky deflected goal there in the first half, and also Hunter with a moment of madness there towards the end, albeit to be fair to him, he did actually make a few good saves there in that first half where Larne definitely had the better of things. Also the OG Gallagher, he got injured in that game, but only out for 6 to 9 days. And our next game is in another cup, the Irish Intermediate Cup. That actually looks like a competition we could potentially do quite well in, because this is competed for between the teams in our division. So if we can keep our good form up in our division, you'd like to think we'd be one of the favourites for this cup. So maybe a good chance for us here to actually pick up a cup competition in our first season of management here at Banbridge Town. But unfortunately, we're not going too deep in that Irish Cup off the back of that 2-0 defeat against Larne. But as I said, didn't actually play that badly. The second half was actually really good. So hopefully based on that, we can continue our good form both in that Irish Intermediate Cup as well as the league, and make sure that we are in the thick of things come the time where that competition does break into the top half and the bottom half, and hopefully try and also get in a bit of a title race as well here for our first season in charge. But that will do it for today's episode of FMOE. As I said, unfortunately getting knocked out there of the Irish Cup in the first round by Larne. If you did enjoy today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. We will come back probably for a league game, or maybe if we get past Ballymena United reserves like you'd expect us to in the third round of that Irish Intermediate Cup. The next round of that, I think the next interesting league game coming up is at the end of February. Moyola Park actually struggling a little bit mid-table at the start of the season. They might actually still be there on the season preview. They were heavy favourites to be going up, so not too sure what's happening there at Moyola Park with those odds of 1/91, so definitely not going as things were expected to there for the hot promotion favourites there, currently mid-table and maybe in doubt of actually making the championship group here for this third tier of Northern Irish football. But we might come back for that game, or as I said, if we make our way through to the fourth round of that Intermediate Cup and there's an interesting tie in that competition, we might come back for that game as well. So probably a cup game or Moyola Park coming up in tomorrow's episode. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.